Welcome to another segment of Logicalmgtow, and this one's going to be directly about why I became, or why I chose to become essentially Mgtow. Um, and I can tell you, let's see, with the fact that I've gone through many relationships in my past, and so sure. Um, then, then the second one being definitely not sure to the point to where she played me for a fool and left me with another person right in front of me, no less. Then she wanted me back, but yet at the same time, when it only suited her, that she went right over to another person without me knowing. Thereby, I found out her hanging over the dumbass. And right after this, let's say the third one, the same aspect of going back to the idiot that she was with before. The third bitch that I was going with in my past. Of course, the marriage thing was a different thing, which would be my fourth. Um, and then after that, then of course after the divorce, which basically was agreeable between the two of us essentially. But um, even though even though she claimed that she didn't want it, but obviously she did because didn't she didn't really pay attention to how I felt about what she was doing, which was smoking, and I couldn't stand the smoke, even though I used to smoke myself. Of course, and you know how sometimes that sort of used to aspect of being around people who smoke kind of subsides after a while. It did for me though. And we talked. We went through counseling. We went through even talks and whatnot between her and I. And apparently, apparently, she was more set on doing what she felt was right for her instead of being what's right for both of us, especially in the health aspect. And so the divorce happened. Thereby, of course, I didn't get any. She didn't get any alimony. She didn't get any child support. She didn't get any um, and anything, especially when it comes to property value aspects, whatnot. But nonetheless, I know there are many that are completely different than that, and to where instead of keeping their money, they lose their money. Of course, I know that, but I guess you could say I was one of the lucky ones that didn't have to fork out hundreds of thousands of dollars on that. But when I felt that I was ready to go back in the dating world, it got to the point to where it was either that either they are benefited first before anything else, or there's no chance that they'd be with you. Or if you didn't do what benefited them, especially the supposed women online, then even the women online wouldn't give you the time of day. And yet they think they would automatically have the same aspect of thinking that that they'd be able to get anybody else. But really, I know even before me, they played the same shit with other guys, expecting them to pony up the cash. And yet a number of those ones that I found out, even before I became Mgtow, that they were scammers. They were men posing as women, using other American women photos, which is basically illegal when they do this type of shit. And I'm surprised the INS and FBI and CIA haven't gotten more than cracked down on this, on the scams that are also online. It's been done to even many others that have been on shows like the Dr. Phil show and various others, and both men and women that have been scammed for hundreds of billions of dollars. And they find that the person is a fucking phony. There's no such person with that particular picture. And yet, there was also one on Dr. Phil that had the woman's picture plus the woman on the panel, and the person that was scammed, essentially snookered into sending the idiot practically his whole entire life savings. That's one thing. One thing even women are about. I just saw before I started this video, a woman leaving this one dude for another person because she wasn't willing to stick it out with him. No matter how he was able to make money, she considered him essentially dead weight. Many women nowadays are considering men that don't make billions of dollars right off the fucking bat dead weight. The ones that work in retail, they consider dead weight. The men that work in fast food or sporting goods stores or anything else for that matter, dead weight. But the ones that are like lawyers and prosecutors and various others, there's as long as there's like money coming in, large amounts of money coming in, they won't consider you dead weight until they have been tired of you emotionally and psychologically. Then they will try to drain your ass through the court system. I'm not about that. And I even when I was in the general dating world and sense of kind of looking and not looking, right? And I got over time I got tired of it, so I said, "Fuck this shit. I ain't gonna deal with their little manipulative bullshit no more." And I'm not gonna deal with their, "Oh, he's cute, but I wouldn't want to be with him," or he, or he said he does this, and to me that sounds like he makes a lot of money, but he's not really doing anything to make the money to where I can benefit off of it. Case in point, there was one woman that I met off of what was it, Pal Talk, another chat site, about a number of years ago, and she came over and expected me to pay the money to have her come over from Nevada, and then she expected me to work and make the money of what I do in the sense of advocating. And I told her I do make money, but the basic fact is it doesn't. It's not like free flowing. She couldn't accept it. Thereby, she eventually hooked up with another person. He came down and picked her up. That was the last of it. See, right there, women have shown their true colors. They're not really they don't know how to love anymore. They don't know how to be caring, endearing, and all this other positive emotional thing, which basically what the Bible expects them to be. And they want to be in the sense of only benefiting themselves. They don't want to have it towards benefits both sides anymore. So generally, I've noticed a number of guys going through the same thing, but in a different way, in many different ways. Even through in the base of even after marriage and divorce and whatnot, right? So, and with the fact that I've become, well, the reason I chose to be known as a logical Mgtow Spock is because, well, the Spock part is that I'm a Star Trek fan. Okay, um, and with that, before I became a Star Trek fan, I mean, before I became, of course, Mgtow, I was doing advocating essentially what became the aspect of Northern California advocate, right? Then of course I changed it, but I'm still trying to figure out how to change it on where it says Northern California advocate. But I changed the name of my advocate thing in 2016. And but I have legal rights to the Northern California part of it, because I started with that, and I'm still keeping it. If anybody wanted, they'd have to give me more than buco bucks for it, and it would have to be in face value. But the basic fact is that um, um, while I was advocating, it obviously wasn't. I was at the same time. Okay, I'm going to tell you straight up. When I started advocating outside of being in retail, because I worked retail for 12 years, from the age of 16. Okay. And when I did advocating, I didn't do it to impress women like most guys do. There are a number of guys out there that do or even say that they're in a particular field when they're really not. And even if they are truly in that field, they only do it to impress women. I'm not about that. If the woman wants to be with me, she has to be with me for who and how I am, and she has to accept me for who and how I am. And no, none of this mind game crap. I've built up myself strong enough to go by that. And thereby also, if they want to try to snicker away around things and bullshit, I'm not about bullshit. The basic fact is women like to bullshit just to see what they can get away with, and that's the truth. Even Dos Gags said that um, he's even more than aware of it. I mean, I know even the Mgtow brother and friend of mine by the name of Mr. Hate Vicious knows that. And yet, of course, Mr. Hate Vicious, of course, has said many times, as you know, that he hasn't put himself in the base of relationship situations and issues and what have you. I respect him for that. That was his right and choice, and I would, even as an advocate, I would defend that big time. Um, but the basic fact is that women have gone from what the Adam and Eve sincere, long life aspects, but only to the points of benefiting themselves. You might as well call them another version of a guy with a pussy only. Although there are transsexual aspects of women with both genitalia, essentially both male and female genitalia. And this is not. I'm telling you. This is not. I'm not against transgender aspects, because I would even advocate for a transgender person. Um, because at the same time, transgender people are part of Heavenly Father's children as well. Even though in today's society, unfortunately, the transgender is still being, shall we say, wrongfully judged, but in a different, more harshful way, and what have you, and actions. The basic fact is that women have gone to the most sinful and illogical aspects, starting with um, their first option was to reform a feminist movement, and then on top of that, another movement to back up the feminist movement, known as the Me Too movement. Be that, of course, and yet on top of that, they keep on changing their meanings of the groups, because they're finding that men are not falling for that crap, and yet the ones that are not yet part of the feminist and Me Too movement groups are finding more and more men are going Mgtow. And you know how I mentioned on one of my other videos that when I'm out there, people, women don't even come up to me, because they probably know that they probably see my videos of saying, "Hey, man, I'm Mgtow. I'm not going to put up with feminist bullshit no more," which I'm not going to put up with no more feminist bullshit. The basic fact is, women have gone to the points of illogical standards and unrealistic, illogical crap, especially when it comes to the spirituality of things. They've gone to the points of being spiritual and logic and positive and many other emotional, psychological things that are good and positive and strong, to the illogical and sinful aspects, and yet they think that they can get away with it. Yet the court system is allowing them to get away with it. The fucking government's allowing them to get away with it by white knighting them. Even the Democratic idiots are white knighting the women, the feminist bitches, and even the Me Too bitches. They won't admit it, but they are. So, ladies and single mothers, you want to keep on bitching of why there's not any good men out there, because you, as well as your other female constituents in the same gender, have fucked it up for you. Plus, on top of that, your little mind game of this positive fake bullshit that you play with us men, and then you expect us to reach inside of you and fix your unhappiness when we cannot, when it's deep within you. Therefore, it's your responsibility. You want us to go back to the plantation, try to reach in you and fix your unhappiness deep within you, and fix your indecisiveness, when both of those things are your responsibility to repair. And yet you want to still point the finger of blame at us men, as if we're at fault for the way you feel. No, we're not. And just because you were mistreated by your parents doesn't mean you can give us the same hell that you would give your parents. And also, we're not your fathers, by the way. As Mr. Hick Vicious has said, women, even nowadays, even in the 1990s, are looking at us men, instead of being their boyfriends, fiancés, or husbands. They're looking at us like a secondary or a third variation of a father figure. Seeing that their father looked at them as princesses and all those sort of stuff, right? And they would practically give them practically the world if they could, right? And that's what women are nowadays, are trying to focus and then look at us men. And yet, if they don't get it, if women don't get what they want on their timeline, which is not realistic and not logical either, then they automatically point the finger of blame and blame us for their own happiness and indecisiveness, and they try to put us through court, see if they're married to us, and try to fucking make us feel like less of a man on top of that. And in between the marriage and relationship, they cheat on us, and then at times they'll expect us to forgive them for cheating on us. And on my Logical Mgtow page, there's many other aspects to it that women try to fucking get away with. And guess what, ladies? You ain't gonna get away with it with me. You ain't gonna get away with it with Mr. Hate Vicious. You're not gonna get away with it with DOS Gags. You're not gonna get away with it with any of them, including John Von, James Von Maxwell. You're not gonna get away with it for sure with Mike, the Mgtow man. So therefore, also, you're not gonna get away with it with Undead Chronic. You might get away with it with, say, Brandon King and Alec Fleming, but not the larger majority of the Mgtow members. We're not going to stop being Mgtow because you women have gone from realistic, reasonable, logical to not realistic, reasonable, and logical to the points where you're also going against the Bible. So, ladies, have fun being single, have fun being used, and have fun being fucked and left, because that's exactly what you put yourself in. The basic fact is that I'm not gonna be subservient to a woman. I've never been subservient to a woman, even though I was doing what all of us guys are taught, even at a young age, when it comes to women. But the basic fact is that no more, no more. Women have become more than illogical, not reasonable, and like I said, females that act like men but with pussies, and think that they can get anything that they want and when they want, and think that their fucking pussy is like the fucking golden goose, like a fucking treasure when it's not, like a fucking treasure that pirates find, and it's not. Basic The basic fact is simply that women have gone to the points of non-reality, and unfortunately there are white knights out there that are simp blue-pilled men who haven't really experienced the true nature of hypergamy from women and many other illogical, sinful shit from women. Once they do, then you know what happens to women, and with the number of those men. Hmm? Those men that actually find out that start white knighting the bitch or bitches, essentially, they end up killing him. Then, of course, eventually that same guy ends up in prison. It's been shown many times, even on Criminal Minds, man. And even when it even shows on Criminal Minds that women go to the points of teasing and making fun of the person at a young age, even in the college and the high school aspects. Then the guy loses his mind, becomes where he becomes basically mentally unstable, to where he goes completely nut cookie and hunts down every woman he can get to, even one woman or women that have done him wrong, even in high school, even in the teasing aspect. Um, and, then, and yet, And yet, of course, the FBI and whatnot are hunting his ass down. And then and sometimes they do get to him, and sometimes he offs himself before they even get to him. So basically, women are being white knighted definitely by the government, and thereby they think they can get away with anything with us by when it comes to us men that are not part of the government. So basically, women have gone to the points of non-realistic shit and sinful shit, and especially when it comes to adultery / cheating, and the illogical aspects of thinking that they have a higher base of entitlements when they really do not. When they really do not have a high base of entitlements, regardless. Because, like I said many times, the entitlement base is like this. And it will always stay like this. It's not going to change for women. It's not going to be changing for men. It's not going to change for either gender at all. So get used to that, ladies. The basic fact is, now that I'm Mgtow, I'm happier. I'm single, granted, yes, I'm happier. And I know many women out there, even online, even the so-called real ones, expect the same thing. They're not going to get it from me. They may think they can get it from me. They may think, oh, he seems nice. He seems sure of himself and all this other stuff, which I am sure of myself in a positive, logical, spiritual sense anyway. And they may think that they can get away with things and try to convince me to go back to the plantation. There's no fucking way in hell that's going to happen. No fucking way on this planet will that ever happen. Women need to realize they fuck themselves over. And on top of that, when it comes to the feminist movement, when it comes to being re-liberated, as I've said in one of my other videos, women can only be liberated one time when it comes to their humanities. And they've already been liberated in the 1970s with the ERA feminist movement, who marched and protested in 1972 through 1978, in which had the government put through the Equal Rights Amendment bill, which was enacted and put into law by 1980 to 81, if not 79 to 81. Even in between those 2 years. So basically, women are not using their heads. So basically, even if they are women chemists and all this other stuff, they're not really using their heads in the personal aspect. When it comes to relationships and everything, they're only thinking of only one thing: them, and how do they be able to benefit them. And they still have them in the mind. They still have in the mindset that guys are raised to only benefit the woman, and to hell with how we want to be benefited. We were not raised to be only benefiting the woman only, and to hell with how we want to be benefited. It's equal. In spirituality, we're benefited equally. In reality, we are to be benefited equally. It's not 100% the woman where the woman is benefited. It's both, man and woman. Yet the women have only seen only one in themselves. And that's the aspect of the reason why I became Logicalmgtow, because I know a deeper insight of things, both psychologically, spiritually, as well as otherwise. Even within the reality aspects as well, and situations. This is Logicalmgtow. If you want to know more, I may even do another one. I'm not sure of why I became Mgtow. If anything else comes to mind, but basically you get the idea. This is Logicalmgtow. Live long and prosper, men, and please become Mgtow. And know that us Mgtow will never steer you wrong, men. We have told you the truth about women and their hypergamy and their true nature even at current, and we will continue to do so because they will not. It doesn't seem like there's any change on the female side, on the feminist bullshit side, even on the feminist Me Too movement bullshit side. Basically, again, they're going against the Bible, and if you want to be one man to be shown that you are with the Bible, join us. Become Mgtow. Stay free. Free yourself from feminism. Seriously, free yourself from feminism. Become Mgtow. Stay strong. Stay Mgtow. Mgtow for life.